Achis was fully aware of everything happening around him. Seeing his wife suffering, he felt a pain that was almost unbearable. For 30 years, he had endured the laughter and ridicule of everyone around him, but he had never allowed anyone to humiliate Ms. Guin. He had even considered ending everything, hoping to free his wife from the oppression, give her a peaceful life. Just as he was about to make that final decision, Teacher Maxil stepped in and stopped him in time. He told Achis to write down his problems and promised that he would read them and find a way to help him. He reminded him that he could not give up on himself. Not long after, several curious villagers who had been drawn by the commotion came closer. Maxil prevented Achis from making an irreversible mistake and pulled him back from the edge of danger. His words also helped Achis understand an important truth. Even though he could not speak, he could still express his thoughts through writing. On a dark night, Achis wrote a letter. In it, he poured out his pain and his love for Ms. Guin. He wrote that the villagers had mocked him for many years, simply because he was born with a disability. He had silently endured their pointing fingers and cruel whispers, never taking their words to heart. But after he married, they began spreading hurtful rumors about his wife. Those vicious words pierced his heart like knives, and he could no longer bear the pain. He thought about leaving for a distant foreign country, a place where people would not only focus on his imperfections and laugh at him. He asked everyone not to worry about him, promising that one day he would return because he still loved this land and loved everyone there. This simple letter carried every bit of his pain, helplessness, and heartbreak. It was the desperate cry of a man trapped by society's prejudice, but also the strongest declaration of someone who refused to surrender to an unfair fate. His journey to a distant land was filled with sadness and determination. He decided to leave behind all the cruel voices around him and take the woman he loved to a place where they could live without constant judgment or ridicule. Time passed quickly. After years of dedicating himself to teaching in this remote village, Teacher Maxil finally reached the moment when he had to leave. For years, he had continued spreading the seeds of knowledge across this poor and isolated land, helping countless children discover the world beyond the mountains. The simple kindness and sincere warmth of the villagers had also left a deep mark on his heart, becoming a precious memory he could never let go of. 7 years later, a car slowly drove into the quiet village, surprising everyone. The person who stepped out was none other than Maxil himself, and his wife was by his side. He introduced her to the villagers, who warmly invited them into their homes to rest. But Maxil explained that there were still some familiar guests sitting inside the car. Moments later, a man in a suit stepped out, holding a child's hand. At first, no one recognized that he was Achis. Then Ms. Guin stepped out of the car carrying a little girl in her arms. The four of them had become a happy and stable family, even though many years earlier, no one had believed they would ever make it this far. The first one to recognize Achis was an old horse from the village. After catching his scent, it immediately ran toward him. Achis gently stroked the horse before walking toward the crowd. That was when his father finally recognized his son. As father and son stood face to face, Achis spoke clearly and smoothly, calling him father for the first time. His father was amazed and wondered whether Achis had regained his ability to speak through surgery. But when he looked at Ms. Guin, he immediately understood that medicine alone had not changed Achis's fate. It was the endless care and unconditional love from his wife, the patient guidance and support from Teacher Maxil, and most importantly, Achis's own determination to never give up, because he had never stopped fighting for a better life.